I look like a millennial, but that's okay, cause I don't act like one in my everyday life. What am I doing with my life? Hello everybody, it's Miss Misa here, and today I wanted to make a video on something that I feel is very, very important and an issue that isn't really spoken a lot about in the community that I happen to find myself in, which is female privilege. Now, before I actually get into this discussion, I just wanted to quickly mention it's actually my birthday tomorrow, but I can't do any kind of drunk streaming or anything like that because unfortunately, girls gotta work, girls gotta earn a living. I was going to do a stream on Saturday night, but I had to cancel that stream because I'm actually busy on the Saturday. I will talk more about that probably after or on the day or whatever. I don't know. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I actually really don't like my birthday. So I'm just gonna pretend it's a normal day. So yeah, literally for me, it's just an excuse to get drunk. So there we go. Promise I'm not an alcoholic, I promise. So anyway, let's get on with the actual video. So female privilege, it's something that if you claim exists, you get called a sexist, or if you're a woman and you claim it exists, you get told that you have internalized misogyny or whatever the fuck kind of buzzwords feminists are coming up with nowadays. And there are many ways in which I can show that I, as a woman, especially one living in the West, specifically the UK, has female privilege that I do take advantage of, and some of the things I've never taken advantage of, but the fact that they're even there is fucked up. I could talk about male suicide rates or, you know, child custody rates or just things of that manner that get brought up a lot in skeptic videos. But it feels as though feminists, whenever you bring those points up, they just ignore them, or they say, oh, you don't actually care about those issues anyway, or they just deflect it in some way. And I feel like that kind of displays how much feminists don't really give a shit about men's issues, because if your argument to, well, this is an issue is, well, you don't care about the issue, so why should we? It kind of shows that you don't really give a shit. Like, you guys don't like men, it's fucking obvious. And this is the thing, when I refer to feminists in this video, I'm not talking about the kind of bedroom feminists that have only just learned about feminism and, you know, they don't really know a lot about the actual movement. I'm talking about feminists who are in academia, who do their research, who do studies, who research into this stuff, like the feminists that are kind of more up there, you know, the ones that know what they're talking about. They do not give a shit, and it's really upsetting and worrying, but I'll come back to that at the end of the video. But firstly, let me go through ways in which I have female privilege and men are actually the ones who are oppressed, at least in the legal system. They are definitely the ones who are oppressed. We as women have it pretty damn good when it comes to legal situations. I know that feminists like to complain about the supposed wage gap, or, you know, the fact that women get catcalled or mansplaining or manspreading or all these stupid things that don't really matter. But legally, girls, we have it pretty damn good. I mean, for one thing, men make up over 60% of the homeless people within, you know, Western world, like the US or whatever. But, you know, female homeless shelters get way more funding, they get way more stuff because, you know, women always need things like tampons and Tampax and all that shit that we don't actually need, right? But, you know, we get more funding. It's like, how the fuck does that work? Men only win up to about 16% of child custody battles. And I know this is a point that feminists like to just kind of brush off and be like, yeah, but the mothers, it's fine, it's fine. This is even in cases where the mother isn't really fit to be a parent and the dad is, or they're both fit to be parents. I experienced this one personally when my mum and dad split up, and my mum and dad have a very complicated relationship. They split up before I was born, before I was conceived, after I was born, about twice actually. But when they officially split up properly, my brother and me ended up going with my mum, despite the fact my mum was not in a position to really take care of us properly. She had to get a lot of help from her mum and my dad. My dad was in a very good place financially. He was willing to take care of us, but we ended up going with my mum. No fucking clue why. I know that, you know, the women have to carry the babies and actually birth them, so we feel like we have more of a right, but if the mum isn't stable, then we shouldn't really be going with them. Plus, you know, women have a tendency to use kids as a weapon, and I know it's a very bad example, but just watch Jeremy Kyle. I mean, some of the women on that fucking show, the stuff that they pull out, like, oh, you're with another woman, you're not seeing your child, like, That shit ain't right. That shit ain't right. Speaking of parental rights, men basically have none when it comes to their children. When a child is conceived, the woman basically has the choice of whether she keeps it or gets rid of it 100%. The dad usually has no say. Now, this is a topic I don't really like talking about because it's kind of a touchy subject. Because, you know, obviously as a woman, if I ended up getting pregnant now, I don't know what the fuck I would do. I'm too young to take care of a child, too immature to take care of a child, but I'm not gonna go out and kill the child just because I'm not in a state to take care of it at the same time. My views on abortion have very differed from when I started YouTube to now. I've actually sat down and thought about it more, and yeah, no. Unless it's under very, very severe circumstances, just But the fact of the matter is, if a woman decides she wants to just have it taken care of, the guy has no say. He can't chime in. He can't say, well, actually, I kind of want the kid. And the thing is, if a guy says that he actually wants her to keep the child, he gets scrutinized to fuck. He gets attacked by everyone. Like, I've seen this happen so many times where the potential father of a child that a woman wants to get rid of wants to keep the child, and when she says she wants to get rid of it and he says, I kind of want us to discuss this a bit more, he gets attacked and harassed, and everyone's just on the woman's side. And that is like, what? I know the woman has to carry it, right? I know that it's the woman's body and all that shit, but surely you should be able to sit down and have a discussion with the potential dad. I mean, fucking come on. Also, don't get me fucking started on the fact that men can't legally be raped by women in the UK. I mean, that is fucked. In the UK where I live, if a man gets raped by a woman, like let's say he gets like really, really drunk and the woman takes advantage of him while he's drunk, that does not class as rape because you need to have been penetrated by a penis. Even if she sodomized him or something, that just classes as sexual assault with an object. That doesn't even class as rape either. And that is fucked. And you would think that feminists would be all on that shit because they always talk about how, you know, men get raped too. But I think when they say that, they're mainly referring to men being raped by men, because if they're not just referring to that, why would they not be kicking up a fuss about this law? It just feels like they don't really give a shit, because when I bring this up to feminists that I know, they're always like, yeah, but you know, women get raped more than men. It's like, it doesn't fucking matter. If someone's been raped, they should try and get justice. I know I'm a fucking hypocrite for saying that, but you know, I feel like if that happens to you, you should be able to go to a court and know that they're gonna be charged for rape, not sexual assault. I mean, the fact that feminists aren't really going up in arms about the fact that this law is even really a thing, but they'll march in the millions about a guy who said that he might allegedly have grabbed a woman by the pussy once, kind of speaks volumes about the fucking movement. You can go around wearing your fucking cat pussy hats or whatever, but if you're not gonna actually do anything to change society so that we are actually equal, shut the fuck up. Also, can we bring up the fact that women will likely spend, I think it's something like a quarter of the jail time that men will spend in prison for crimes, even crimes like child molestation, rape, and murder. Like, a lot of the times when women go to jail for child molestation and pedophilia, they literally go in for like a few months and they come straight back out again, because it's not really a big issue. And that whole double standard about like, if a woman will molest a child who is a boy, it's socially considered like okay or not as bad as if a man does it to a girl. Like, that it's fucked up regardless. You shouldn't pin it on gender. It's fucked up. I've been in situations with girls where they've been very, very fucking creepy and you still feel as uncomfortable as if it happens with a guy. It shouldn't matter. By the way, just side note, can we talk about that for a second? Why is it that when girls are creepy towards other girls, it's considered fine? Or like when a girl is creepy towards a guy, it's considered fine, but if a guy does it, it's like fucking awful. Like, one good example of this is the fact that a lot of the time when women get drunk, right, and this happens to me all the time, like when women get drunk with me, they will try and make out with me, right? And because I'm bi, I don't really fucking care most of the time, especially because a lot of them are quite hot usually, but they will go out of their way to feel up my boobs or try and make out with me or try and touch me up. And when that shit happens, I do get a bit like, what the fuck are you doing? But because they're women, I can't really make a fuss about it because everyone around me is gonna be like, oh, but you're bi, it's fine. Or like, oh, but they're just women, it's fine, don't worry about it. But if a guy came up to me and did that in the club, everyone would be up in arms trying to fucking kill him. That kind of shit, like, why is that okay? Also, can I just point out, I'm fucking creepy sometimes with girls, right? When I'm drunk, I am a lot more confident and I say shit to girls that I would never say when I'm sober. But because I'm another girl, they don't find it creepy. They don't find it weird. They're just like, oh, that's really nice. Like, I'll say something like, can I just say that you've got like top-notch tits and stuff like that. And they'll just be like, oh, thank you. Like, but if a guy did that, they would freak out. Why is society this way? Why? Another thing, male domestic abuse help centers. Where are they? Like, they're basically non-existent. Why is that? Why is it that male domestic abuse help centers are just, they're nowhere? And the few that have been built, I mean, I remember there was one case of this, feminists protested it. What? Equality. I fucking right? How dare you try and help the penis ones? How fucking dare you? Also, this is one that gets brought up a lot and feminists like to dispute it by saying that women don't do this a lot. And I'm just gonna say, MGTOW 101, who is a MGTOW YouTuber, obviously, he posted a documentary on Israel about them basically embracing feminism and letting women kind of run wild and do whatever they want and changing their laws depending on what the women wanted. And it is fucked. I'm gonna leave a link to that in the description because everyone needs to watch that. It is fucked. But can I just say, women lying about being raped. Feminists, I know you like to pretend as though this is something that doesn't happen often, but it happens more often than you would think. Watch the thing that I'm linking in the description, MGTOW 101's video on the documentary. You need to watch it. Don't be scared because his name has the word MGTOW in it, because let me just tell you guys, I've been having discussions with some MGTOW YouTubers as of late and some MRAs as of late, privately, and a lot of stuff they say makes sense. Obviously, the kind of radical, recently red-pilled MGTOW who are just hating on women and just going completely fucking berserk and saying that women should like get raped and shit, like, not them. But the ones who are talking about statistics, who are talking about certain privileges that women do have, they talk sense. And, you know, some of them are actually worth watching. I also did an interview recently with a YouTuber called The Nobody. Also, by the way, Nobody, if you're watching this, I will fucking game with you. I just keep forgetting to go on Skype. I am really sorry about that. But that interview was pretty damn good. We ended up agreeing on a lot of stuff. I'm also gonna link that in the description below. But guys, like, women lying about rape happens a lot more than you would think. And I know it's really difficult to determine how much it happens because obviously if you're lying about something, how the fuck are you gonna get the truth out of you? It's obviously really hard, and some people will take that shit to the grave, but it does happen more often than feminists like to believe that it does. And I think the documentary really shows that. Some women were lying about it because a taxi man wouldn't take them where they wanted them to go. Like, some women were lying about it because their boyfriend was trying to break up with them. It was just fucked. Like, I know as a woman from watching my like female friends and even certain like tiny situations I've been in, women can be manipulative cunts. We can be really fucking terrible. And I'm not saying that men don't ever manipulate women. I've experienced it firsthand. You know, everyone knows how to manipulate, but because women have more of a leeway to get away with it without being penalized, we tend to do it more. And it's really fucked, but seriously, like, women can be complete cunts. Feminism seems to have put women on this pedestal where they are all just amazing people and they do no wrong and, you know, all this bullshit, but that's not how it is. Women can be twats as well. Look, I feel like that's all I can stomach to really talk about right now. I want to go into depth in more videos in the future about this specific topic because it does need to be talked about. The reason I made this video is because Irate Bear, one of my besties, he made a video yesterday talking about how the community needs to start talking about MRA issues a lot more. And I completely agree with him. Before he made that video, me and him had a discussion about this, and that's basically what I said to him. We need to start talking about this shit a lot more. And it would help if the community kind of banded together to talk more about men's rights issues. I feel like our community's kind of spiraled into a kind of starving piranha syndrome state where we're all just kind of infighting. And by infighting, I don't mean criticizing each other. That is a completely different thing. But I do feel like there's been too much drama in the community and not enough of us have really been talking about shit that matters. A lot of us have been talking about stuff like Antifa, which has been really, really good. We've been talking about like current events that have been happening in the world, but I feel like there are issues that need to be explored more, and men's rights is one. I know a lot of people don't really like the men's rights movement because they do feel like it's full of misogyny and blah, 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 blah. Same with MGTOW, but there are issues in those movements that do need to be addressed, regardless of if you like the movements or not. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, if feminists decided they actually genuinely wanted to help men's rights, but they wanted to do it under the guise of the feminist name, I would be okay with that as long as the issues are getting resolved. I don't give a fuck who does it. Like, National Socialists could fucking do it, and as long as the issues were being solved, I wouldn't fucking care. It doesn't matter. If feminists wanna actually sit down and deal with these issues, that's great, but they're not going to because they don't care. And a lot of them will argue like, yeah, we do care about men's rights, but they don't do anything to advocate for it. All they do is complain about shit that doesn't matter or focus on women's issues. And even the men in the feminist movement don't give a shit about the fact that the law is fucking them over and they don't even fucking see it. You can be a feminist and want to fight for men's rights. That is fine, you can, but you need to also recognize that just talking about men's rights for like 1% of the time and not actually doing anything to solve the issue, that's not fighting for men's rights. Obviously, I'm just a stupid 19-year-old, nearly 20-year-old, 20 tomorrow, that just sits in her bedroom ranting about shit, but at least I'm fucking talking about it and getting outraged by it. What the fuck are you lot doing? You're just sat there talking about mansplaining and manspreading and all this bullshit that doesn't matter, and about fucking milk being racist, for fuck's sake. How about you actually talk about issues that matter in the world, that actually affect people? I don't give a shit if some random white guy walks by me drinking fucking milk. It's milk. It's fucking good for you. It's got calcium. Just ugh. I feel like I'm fucking Andy Warski, just ugh. But anyway guys, that's all I wanted to talk about. I need to get back to studying because I'm procrastinating like a motherfucker right now. I'm losing motivation for my course because it's so full of like feminism and Marxism. I just don't want to do any studying and it's depressing. It's fucking depressing. But anyway guys, I will talk to you in the next video of whatever the fuck I decide to make next, and I do want to talk more about men's rights in my future videos. This was just kind of like a taster of me just ranting and word vomiting. I had no script for this, I just wrote down a couple of statistics I found and that's basically it. So I hope I articulated myself well enough. Clearly didn't just then. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys. Bye.